This is Flip Flop. Before we get started, please hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoy these reviews and would like to see more. We would greatly appreciate it, and it would help our little channel grow. This week, we strap on our Longlegs, directed by Osgood Perkins. In this film, FBI agent Lee Harker, played by Maika Monroe, chases down the titular phantom killer, uncovering more than just the clues he has left behind. Will she solve the puzzle before it's too late, or will the mystery consume her? We won't spoil the suspense, but we'll tell you what we think on Flick Flops.
Oh yeah, Gary. Longlegs. Boy, this was an anticipation for me. I was excited about this one. Real quick, Rotten Tomatoes was giving that score out. Has this thing sitting at 87 with the critics and 68 with the audience. Now this is just come out. You know, I don't know how many reviews have been done of this thing, and you know, we both went to the theater and saw this, so we're pretty fresh off this one.
Yep.
But 87 and 68, that's pretty darn good for this film.
Yeah, let's do our ratings. A quick reminder that our rating system is unconventional. We don't hand out stars, we hand out poos and TPs, up to 5 of them. And just to add more confusion, the more we give, the crappier we think the film is. Crappier, get it? Yeah, it's dumb, but that's the way we do it. It's
go,
fine.
Man, go.
I gave this movie 2.5 TPs.
Nice. Well, Gary, I'm going to come at you with a hard and fast 1.
I knew it. I just had the feeling this is going to be in your wheelhouse.
Oh my God, was this in my wheelhouse? I would recommend this to just about anybody.
Yeah.
With the exception, I mean, like, again, I always talk about my better half. She does not like these kind of films, and she would not have liked this film at all. I do that from the get-go. Nope. Early on, there's a scene that I'm like, well, she'd be out right there. But yeah, this film is intense.
Let's talk about the good.
Do we have anything you want to go off? And I'll kind of bounce off you, and I'll throw my notes at you.
Sure. Well, first of all, I'll say that the atmosphere of the movie is totally creepy. Right off the bat, there's a vibe it's created, and that follows throughout the film. I thought the set design production of the movie, freaking awesome. I mean, it's set in the early 90s.
Right. I was saying, so along the lines of Late Night with the Devil, this film has a feel to the film. When you're watching it, you feel like you are back in a time. And it took me a second to figure out the time. I just kept looking. I was like, what's the era? Then, of course, I saw
Good Evening, America.
Yeah, that was the key indicator. I was like, okay, I know where we're at.
Yeah, we will be really careful not to give away anything in this movie, because I don't think it's not that there's some huge twist or anything to it. It's just that it's an experience. I really think that you should see it to get that experience.
Right.
I will say the directing and the cinematography in the movie was great. There's a lot of the shots are wide shots. They give you a lot to look at, and there's a lot of times you're watching a horror film that I feel like when you get those scenes, like get wider shots like that, you start looking around, watching for the thing that's going to happen behind or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there are things in this that you need to be looking like, because I caught myself more than once going, hey man.
Yeah. There's a few,
and then it plays out, and I'm like, nice, because they don't beat you over the head with it.
Right. Yeah.
There's a lot of subtleties that you just pay attention, like, oh wow, okay, good, well done, sir. I
thought the story was good. I will mention a few things when we move to bad. Okay. My last note on the good is I want to see more films like this. Given it a 2.5, there's a reason I did, which when we move on to bad, I'll explain that side of it. But I love these types of movies. This is definitely, I just want to see more of these. These are the ones I like.
Yeah. So look, my quick notes, and again, usually Gary and I are watching these things at home, so we can take notes and pause. We were in theaters. I couldn't take my notepad in with me. I had no light, so I was kind of, but I literally just saw this movie a few hours ago. My notes are very simple. This film is intense. For me, it was very intense. There's suspense. This thing builds, and I mean, I found myself many times kind of like sitting up in my chair, like, and looking for these things that you were talking about that are off in the background. I'm looking for them, like, did I just see? And if anybody who was watching these, I'm not the person who tries to figure the film out. I wasn't trying to do any of that, and I didn't. There's twists in this film that I didn't see coming, and they were good. I was like, oh, oh wow, I didn't see that coming. That was nice. I like that feeling. But so intense, it's suspenseful, it builds. I will say this, and Gary, you and I both we worship at the altar of Nick Cage Almighty. Cage was at his cagiest in this film. There were some moments where I was like, oh, thank God. Thank God this is a Nicolas Cage movie, because man, there's the mark, and then he just goes. We could all find examples of Nick Cage going a little over the top, and as some people say, he chews the scenery, he just eats it up. This one, again, you have to dance a lot. I don't want to give anything away, but there were scenes where he was doing stuff, and I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I expect of this character. Is this over the top, and I got it. So I was very pleasantly surprised with our other boy Nick. Look, there's a few jump scares in this film that I was kind of like, oh, hey, got me there on that one. And again, I mentioned there's a couple of twists. You can't give anything away because it's there's stuff that you need to be blind going into it. And I recommend don't watch a trailer. That's become my new favorite thing to do, is just see a movie if you tell me to watch a movie, or Kevin says watch a movie, I just watch it.
Yeah.
And there's a joy in having zero idea what the movie's about.
Yeah, I went into it blind as well. I saw the initial trailer I think they released. I have no idea how long ago it was, but it just showed and it plays out actually in the movie. It's fairly early. There's a Polaroid picture of a family, and there's like an audio track that plays over. It's like a 911 call or something, or maybe a radio call or something. And that's what they showed in the initial trailer that I saw.
Yeah.
No idea what the movie was about at that point. Yeah. And I loved that. Going in with only that knowledge, I stayed off the internet. People were talking about this movie a lot. But let's move on to the bad, because you mentioned something about Nicolas Cage. Look, I don't have a problem with Nicolas Cage.
You sure, Gary?
I love Nicolas Cage movies. We've mentioned this many times. I love the over-the-top Nicolas Cage. However, in the experience that I had in the theater, people were laughing during those scenes that you're alluding to.
Oh, see, I got none of that in my theater.
Okay. That bothered me, and it made me realize that had I gone on into this movie not knowing that Nicolas Cage played who he plays in it, it would have been a much better surprise.
Oh,
I think if they never mentioned, if his name was never on it, and
like
you never
7.
knew, and you went into it, and then you're like, who the heck is playing this character?
Right.
That would have been that would have made it so much different. To me, and I was affected by the people around me, I think, because of hearing that chuckle. To me, it took the sinisterness away from what could have been a really sinister moment. And so that kind of ruined it for me. And I really think that would be freaking awesome to go into that not knowing that.
My theater was absolutely quiet.
Yeah. So and it was mostly that way in ours, but it still had a little bit.
You should have jumped up and said, respect Cage or leave.
Those who do not respect the Cage.
The foot is going down.
I will say another couple of things that I have for notes. You mentioned that you didn't see some of the stuff coming. I don't intentionally look for these things. I just see sometimes when it's telegraphed. And I think there's a couple things that are telegraphed in this that I think are somewhat easy to see if that's your frame of mind. Yeah. And I feel like this isn't so much a twist movie as it is an unfolding of the story. It kind of just leads you along. You learn a little bit more information and a little bit more information. Unfortunately, as the result of the way that plays out, there's a huge exposition dump sort of at the end or near the end, because there's not enough pieces to the entire story to explain what's going on. And I'm going to dance around this, but as a result of that, you get this explanation that happens. I wish there was a better way for that to play out, because unfortunately, even though it's explained to you, and this is where I had a little bit of problem with the movie, I feel like some of the mystery there, you don't have there must be a rule to this mystery of what's going on, why the thing is happening that's happening, and I can't say anything. And we can talk about this afterwards.
Sure.
But I feel like you never know the rules. Because you don't know the rules, you can't really figure out how this thing ends. When it ends up at the ending, you're like, how is that, what's the ending then? I don't want to say too much about that. So there's this culmination of things that kind of happens. it left me with something at the end that I can't really I can't quantify it. I can't tell you exactly what it is. It left me wanting something, and I don't know what that want is, but it's why I gave it a little bit lesser of a grade than you did. Because overall, I really thought it was a very good horror film. I enjoyed it. I thought there's a lot of creepiness, and I love the vibe and all that. Overall, good movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I like the story. I love the feel we talked about early in the film, or the podcast. There were a couple. I don't want to say, I guess, plot holes. Look, they're always going to be there. Things that just like there was a cut to that didn't make sense to me, and we can talk about that because I don't want to throw anything away. The only couple nitpicky things I have, because again, little things bother me. The character that's over your shoulder there, the Lee Harker. Sorry, could she breathe any heavier in intense moments when she's trying to be quiet? I was like, they're gonna find you. Like, settle it down, bro. That just, again, stupid. I was like, shh, quiet breathing. And one thing that just bumped me a little was her mannerism or her affectations. There's points where she's coming across as almost autistic, and getting to kind of echo what you say, there's no explanation to why she's the way she is.
I think there kind of is.
Well,
but we can't talk about it.
Well, yeah, I mean,
after I think there kind of is a little bit of an explanation, but
I guess. I mean, I know where you're heading. I guess there is, but to me, it's just like, maybe I just need to be beat over the head with things. I don't need the subtleties. I need a little. Show me the sign. Look, the film this is a good film, and I look, honestly, I wouldn't even say it's a horror film. To me, it's not. This is just a great thriller film. And again, I mentioned Seven earlier. This reminds me of Seven because it's intense. It unfolds like you said, and then I think you were spot on. If you did not put Nicolas Cage's name on this film and let it just happen, wow,
yeah.
Because again, getting back to Seven with the Kevin Spacey thing, spoiler, he was uncredited.
Yeah.
And then when you finally get it, you're like, oh wow, it was great. It was a great reveal. So
yeah.
But look, this is a good flick, man. Go see it. Go see it.
I definitely think you should see it. Just because
I think the hype is there. I think the hype is deserved.
Yeah, and and like I said, I'd like to see more films like this. Whatever that thing that I wanted that I did not get, I would love to see that in the next one.
Yeah,
I want to see that land.
When the next one, they'll be called Daddy Longlegs.
Maybe
they'll explain some of that stuff.
And spoiler alert: there's no spiders. Anyway,
exactly. Yeah, this is never explained here. This whole, I'll give you that much.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and let us know in the comments if you saw Longlegs or if you plan on seeing it based on what we've said here. And when you do find or watch it, come back here and let us know what you thought. We'd like to hear it.
Yeah, I'd love that. We'd love to have a conversation with somebody about it besides us.
I know. Somebody. Get on there in the comments.
Yeah, bro.
This has been a Touch of Madness production, brought to you by the creative minds at Tommy Twins Media.